What is up, guys? Welcome to another video. Another video means another dopamine high. Excited to buy something, to feel something. And today we are doing another review on another Star Wars figure because, like I said, stuff came in. Time for Star Wars reviews. And today we're taking a look at Hasbro's Star Wars The Black Series, the Dark Trooper. Now, this is a deluxe figure, so take that as you will with the new Hasbro prices. But this guy is something I immediately pre-ordered when he was announced because I have a Imperial infantry problem where I need to collect all of them, and the Dark Trooper is in that bracket, and also he looks really cool. So regardless of that little addiction I have, I was gonna get him anyways. So this guy, very cool looking, and yeah, we've only seen him in season 2 of The Mandalorian, so there is no lore segment for this video. So there you go for those who skip that segment almost immediately. So with all that said, let's go check out the figure. And taking a look at the box, it's the normal deluxe figure size box. There's the Dark Trooper with everything included. We got his name, the Mandalorian, some art on the side. Then taking a look at the back, we have more art, a brief description about the Dark Trooper, and then we have nothing on the other side because that is just, you know, there's nothing to go there. And, you know, just taking him out of the box, first impressions, based off visuals, everything is looking good. He is looking smexy. So let's take a look at the figure. So starting off with articulation in the head region, he can rotate his head 360 degrees, and then you can have him wobble his head and look pretty much in any direction you want him to. It's a very good feel, a very good range of motion when it comes to tilting and moving his head back and forth. It's just, he can look pretty much anywhere you want him to, so very good feeling. So when it comes to arm articulation, he can bring up his arm and bring it up forward a good amount. He can't bring his arm up all the way because of the shoulder armor getting in the way. But when it comes to elbow articulation, he can bend it 180 degrees. It's kind of like, I don't know how to describe it, but essentially it can bend back and forth more than a normal Black Series figure would be able to. And you can rotate the elbow 360 degrees. And then getting to the hand, you can rotate the hand 360 degrees and bend the wrist a very decent amount. Because of the joints on the elbow and the wrist, he has a larger range of motion in those joints, which I think is really cool. And then taking a look at his torso articulation, you can rotate his torso 360 degrees. You can have him pivot it in any direction you want, and you can have him lean back and forth. You can't really get him to do a crunch, but he can still move back and forth nonetheless. So for a Black Series figure, this is decent torso articulation, and I'm just very happy with the overall feel. And finally, looking at the legs, you can have him bring his legs up all the way if you want him to sit down, but you can't really have him, you know, rotate his legs 360 degrees because the thigh armor clashes with the waist. But if that armor wasn't there, I can guarantee you it would be able to rotate 360 degrees. And then, like I said, you can bring his legs up all the way, and you can't really have him do a split. You can have him do about halfway of a split. Again, that's because the waist piece and his thigh armor is clashing. Then getting to the knee articulation, I'm kind of disappointed. I wish he could bring his legs up just a little bit more, but he kind of can get half of a butt kick. So he can still move his knee, just not as much as I wish he could. And then you can rotate the calf 360 degrees if you wanted him to do that, which is really neat. And then going to the feet articulation, you can have him bring his feet back and forth a good amount, more than most Black Series figures can, and you can rotate his feet 360 degrees as well. So very good feeling of the legs. So overall, I am fairly satisfied with the range of motion throughout the entire figure's body. The only issue I have with his articulation is in the leg region, where not because he can't do a full butt kick, but because his joints have a wider range of motion and they allow for more movement, he tends to have some trouble supporting his own weight. And the feet, because like I said, they have that wider range of motion, they're more likely to move back or forth with the figure's weight, causing him to fall over and be a hassle at times. And getting into accessories, starting off with his blaster. Now, I don't know what the designation for this blaster is. I've looked at Wikipedia, I've looked through everything that I can, and I cannot find a name for this blaster, so we're just going to call it blaster. Now, the first major eyesore that you can see with this blaster is that it's bent. I don't know why it is bent for me. I really dislike how it's bent. I hope that yours is not bent because I would like you to enjoy your product not looking weird, but for me, I have to deal with this burden, and I'm not going to dock points for it because, you know, this doesn't speak for everyone's Dark Trooper, just mine. So Yeah, but overall I think it looks cool. I think the sculpting is fine. The paint job isn't too crazy. It's gray with that silver for the ejection port that doesn't make sense because it's a blaster, but you know, overall it's just a fine execution of the blaster. And for our next accessory, we have these fire effects. Now these fire effects are for the bottom of the Dark Trooper's feet, so it looks like flames are protruding from the jets that the Dark Trooper has on the bottom of his feet. Now my only complaint about these is that there is no stand included. My hot take, or my take on all figures that have jetpacks, wings that are implied that they can fly, are that they should have a stand so they can do poses that make it look like they are flying, and we do not get a stand with the Dark Trooper, so that kind of bums me out. So we have these effects that are practically useless because we can't really stand up our Dark Trooper unless you have one of those NECA stand things that are made to support figures in like these crazy stances and poses. Yeah, no, these are pretty much useless. Cool, but useless. And getting into the last accessories, which are swappable hands, which I think are really cool. And to swap them out, you literally just pull the hand out of the peg and you just put the new one in, and it fits like a glove, and they're just closed fists, nothing too crazy, but I still think it's something that is really cool that Hasbro decided to include with this figure. And with all accessories out of the way, we can do some size comparisons to put this boy into scale. And just starting off, we have a normal Stormtrooper, and we can see that the Dark Trooper is an inch or two taller than him. Then we have NECA's Aliens Xenomorph, then NECA's Predator 2 Stalker, Jazzwares Halo The Spartan Collection Spartan Gunganeer, Jazzwares World of Halo Halo Infinite Master Chief, and finally we have McFarlane's The Doomslayer. And here we are at the turntable segment of the video where I go over what I like, dislike, just give my basic opinions and thoughts about this figure, and you're more than welcome to go down below and branch off of anything I said, agree, disagree, great discussion. I like talking about this stuff, and I will most likely respond to anything you say down in the comment section below. So with all that said, let's get the stuff I dislike first, just to get that sour stuff out of the way. The first issue I do have with the Dark Trooper is going back to the whole leg situation. Essentially, because he has brand new leg joints made for him, and they do have a wider range of motion, they are kind of a little bit looser than normal Black Series joints, and because he is top heavy, the loose joints in his leg and the top heavy weight kind of, you know, clash with each other, and he tends to fall over a bit. My second and final gripe with this figure is the flame effects, because they pretty much add no value, no deluxe factor to the figure if you can't position or pose him with them. And by that I mean, if you don't have a stand that can support the Dark Trooper in a flying position, you can't get any use out of them, hence no value to the accessories, bringing down the deluxe factor of the figure. So if you have a stand that can put the Dark Trooper in a flying position, very cool. You know, no value is lost to this figure, at least for you. But if you're like me, where I don't have a stand like that, not at the moment at least, those flame effects have zero value to me and make me question on why is this a deluxe figure. I feel like Hasbro should have just added a stand for the Dark Trooper, and nothing crazy, nothing that bends or moves. It could have just been a straight pole that just, you know, goes right up and connects to the chest of the Dark Trooper, and you could just have him positioned in that torpedo position that we saw in that one episode. So it just, I feel like that this problem could have been easily solved with a just stand that just shot straight up, but we don't have a stand for the Dark Trooper, so we don't have any use for the flame effects until further notice. So now getting into the things I do like about this figure, starting off with the feel of this figure. The articulation and range of motion throughout this guy is really good for the most part. I know I have that one issue with his knee where I kind of don't like how he can't do a full butt kick, because leg articulation is very important in an action figure. But for the most part, for a Black Series figure, this is some really good articulation, and I'm happy to see it. And then after articulation, I really like the looks of this guy. I like how he has the black glossy metal look on him, just like he did in the show. I like the silvers that kind of pop out at you, and then the red beating eyes. Just very good execution visually of the figure as well. And even if this figure does come with semi-useless accessories, one accessory that I can appreciate are the swappable hands. If you are a reoccurring viewer on this channel, I review NECA and Jazzware stuff as well, and those figures have swappable hands, and that's something I really like about those figures, and seeing that here is really cool, and hopefully we can see that more with Star Wars The Black Series figures. That is pretty much everything I have to say about the Dark Trooper figure. If you have this figure already, do you like him, dislike him? Tell me down below. I will most likely respond to what you say, and then just to quickly summarize how I feel about this figure, he has trouble, holding himself up at times and has a questionably useless accessory depending if you have a stand or not. But besides that, he's a good looking and for the most part good feeling figure that comes with swappable hands, which I think are really cool and that Hasbro should normalize. And with all that said, we are at the outro of the video. If you did like this video, a like and a subscription would be awesome. You don't have to comment because that's a lot of effort, I get it, but if you do want to talk about this stuff, I love talking about this stuff, so comment down below. I'll respond most likely, and then don't worry about the bell. We both know that shit is broken, so don't worry about it. But if you like this video and want to see more like it, I do a bunch of other Black Series stuff. I do NECA stuff, I do Jazzware stuff, and all that jazz, so go check that out. And with all that said, have a good one, stay hydrated. If you don't, I'll kill you.